She's taken the roasting of Kenyan coffee in Nigeria to another level, and we featured her on this series about Kenyans abroad some time back. But her ambition doesn't end there. Today, on our continuing African edition of Daring Abroad, meet Kenyan businesswoman Nasra Ali, who now wants to venture into glass blowing in Lagos. When we first met Dr. Nasra Ali, it was back in 2015 at her coffee shop in Lagos, Nigeria. She had just started her business, Kaldi Africa Coffee, that was the first and only roastery in the entire country.
One of the main advantages of the market in Nigeria is that it's a very consumer-oriented market.
Her decision to explore opportunities beyond Kenya had borne fruit and resulted in her business experiencing tremendous growth in just 4 years.
We have become now a local brand. We are now at the airports whereby you're able to buy Kaldi coffee as you fly out of Nigeria. Also the tea line has grown and we've integrated cocoa, natural cocoa, Nigerian cocoa, which is also growing.
But Nasra's dominance in the Nigerian coffee industry was, however, not the only thing that she hoped to achieve. It had always been a dream of hers to learn glass blowing and make beautiful works of art in the process.
Like every other Kenyan, growing up in Kenya, you would come to Kitengela Glass and see how they were doing, and it always felt like magic, you know, from bottles to melted glass and to a cup, beautiful cup. And I think it's something worth sharing.
This fascination and passion saw her decide to finally venture into the glass blowing business, an idea that proved challenging since she never had any sort of training in glass blowing. Luckily, in 2015, while still in Nigeria, she was able to find what she had been waiting for.
Fortunately enough, I was keeping up to date with what Daring Abroad has been doing. I got to know about Mr. Abel Sawe, who is a glass blower in Norway. And I was very much interested in seeing how I can be able to connect with him and bring the glass blowing industry into Nigeria.
And so an ambitious Nasra set out to connect with Abel Sawe, a Kenyan glass blower with about 39 years of glass blowing experience. Her determination finally paid off, and within a short period, through Chams media, she was able to get in touch with Sawe, who, upon receiving her request, was quite willing to help her.
I think Africa should start glass blowing, because if you see the glass blowing tradition, it started in Africa and it's not now in Africa. Europe, most of the other countries are taken over.
So Nasra and Sawe decided to meet up and begin the classes. And what a better place to have them than in their homeland of Kenya. In 2018, they both flew in and met at Kitengela Glass, a training center for glass artisans that is based in Kajiado County.
I have been working for Kitengela Glass for many years. I mean, not as employed here, but assisting them with technical problems. And I felt that this was the right place to meet.
And with that, an excited Nasra started her glass blowing lessons with Sawe, but much to her surprise, the lessons were more enjoyable than tedious.
The training has been fantastic. Yes, much more than I expected. And as a Kenyan, I feel proud that I can be able to replicate something that's happening in my country, in my new country, in Nigeria.
Nasra indeed plans to make good use of her new skills, and we will be finding out exactly how right after our Miles Away segment, which today is about the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Nigeria is located in the western part of Africa. It has a population of about 186 million people, making it the most populous country in Africa. Its capital city is Abuja. The country is led by President Muhammadu Buhari, who took office on the 29th of May 2015. Known for its vibrant culture, Nigeria has the largest economy in Africa with a GDP of over 376 billion US dollars. This can be attributed to its high population and presence of oil. The country also has amazing places to visit. One such place is the beautiful Obudu Mountain Resort in Calabar Cross River State. The resort is one of the most visited places in the country. Another must-see location is the Yankari National Park in Bauchi State. Similar to Kenya, Nigeria is also passionate about soccer. Not only do they boast of having a number of players in top football leagues around the world, but they also fashionably represented the African continent in this year's World Cup. And that's miles away. My name is Michael Zimanji.
Dr. Nasra Ali had just learnt glass blowing. Her aim was to take this skill back to Nigeria and open her own glass blowing studio. But why would she venture into the glass blowing market despite her already successful coffee business in Lagos?
First of all, it goes in line with what we do. We're in the beverage industry, coffee, tea and cocoa. Second is, of course, if you're having a good beverage, a nice cup to go with it. But what is even better is that it's recycled. So we are basically contributing to our environment, whereby in Nigeria, for example, the waste is quite high. So if we can do our bit in the recycling industry, then we are quite happy to contribute in that.
This fact is also supported by Sawe.
It's a material that has it has a lot of varieties. You can create so many different kind of things, and it's just the creativity that stops you. It's a lot. You can do a lot. You can do many things.
It's important to recycling, employment creation, whatever. What are they?
Yes, especially now in Kenya with the bottles, wine bottles that are thrown away. We can melt it here and make new vases, and window glass that has been broken, we can remelt everything.
In addition, Nasra also feels it will further help in dealing with the problem of unemployment facing Nigeria.
I feel it will create employment for the young people where they're able to really produce something locally using recycled glass and contribute to poverty reduction among the youth.
Despite her noble cause, Nasra is still relatively new to the glass-blowing market. Does this make her afraid of competition from already established glass blowers in the West African region?
No, I know traditionally that in West Africa they do what they call the glass beads, which are smaller. But for glass blowing, no. So we're hoping to also be pioneers in that and grow the industry in West Africa.
Her charitable nature, however, does not stop at glass blowing.
We're also looking into go into the farming aspect and support some Nigerian farmers to get into coffee farming.
Nasra's hard-working nature is inspired by her belief in Africa and what we may be able to achieve through cooperation with each other.
We're at an era where Pan-Africanism is quite important. What happens in East Africa affects what happens in West Africa. There's a lot we can learn from each other. I think for me that's the key thing. We also have a lot we can learn from West Africa, all the good practices and also the bad practices that can be lessons to be learned. So from the bigger picture, we as Africans need to be able to work together comfortably, integrate and share the experiences and learnings. There's a lot of good things happening in Nigeria, there are a lot of great things happening in Kenya, and how do we learn from each other? When we look at, for example, the hospitality industry, Nigeria has a lot to learn from Kenya. We are quite good at hospitality industry. Nigeria is now looking into promoting tourism and agriculture as an alternative foreign income for the country besides oil. And that's a big area where I feel Nigeria could learn from Kenya. And when you look from the other way, Nigeria has been in the oil industry for quite a long time, since the 70s. And there are a lot of good lessons that have been learned and a lot of mistakes. And we as a country in Kenya are slowly getting into the oil sector. And I feel there's a lot of lessons we can learn from Nigeria, both good and bad, so as to avoid some of the potholes that they're falling into.
She further believes that her experience in Nigeria has shaped her character to what it is today.
It's a good aspect to be a Kenyan ambassador for Nigeria and vis-a-vis, because living in Nigeria, having Nigeria as my home and Kenya as my home, I feel it has made me a better person. I've grown, and I feel it's something that we can choose to see and to look at each other as Africans more positively.
Because of this, she does not regret her decision to move to Nigeria. She, however, adds that going abroad should not make one forget their country.
So as a result of being part of the Daring Abroad family, thanks to Mr. Alex Chamwada, I'm learning. Not only am I hopefully mentoring, but I'm also learning and growing continuously by connecting with the fellow Kenyans who are doing amazing works in different parts of the world, and I hope we'll continue with the journey together.
And this is her advice to Kenyans about daring in Africa on our Diaspora Bite segment.
There's a lot of trade that we can do together, whereby we are busy looking at exporting to other parts of the world. We can also look at how to foster trade between inter-African countries.
So for Nasra Ali, the sky is the limit, and she believes that what can be done in Norway can be done in Kenya, and what can be done in Kenya can be done in Nigeria. See you again next week when we cross over to Mauritius, where we will meet Kenyans living there.